Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fortress Comic News, episode 95. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside my illustrious co-host.
Wow! Are you like looking up a new word each week? Because that one, it's me, Mike. That word, illustrious. Wow, that's a good one. That might be my favorite one yet, I think. But today we have a special guest on the show, everybody. We're gonna, do some light banter here and there about probably stuff you don't care about besides the news. And then we have a writer / artist of comics as well as novels, the books without pictures. David Whalen will be on the show today. So towards the middle of the show, we'll have a nice little interview with him, and you learn about all his projects. So definitely check him out. So we're doing the show live. I've not been given notes, and Chris is just going to run off the notes, and I'm just going to live react, even though if I have heard of it or if I haven't heard of it. So not much different than a normal show.
95 episodes, and I can't get this one right.
It's fine.
We should just stop now.
As long as you don't mess up 100, we get it out of our system, and then once we get to triple digits, who knows if anyone will be around for that? I don't know. We might slowly be losing the fan base.
Probably.
With our light banter.
I stopped looking at the fucking numbers.
Oh, no. Real talk. Anyways, hey.
All
so
right.
What do we got? You going to start the list off? Movies, right?
Let's start the list. We're going to start with TV.
TV, okay.
So, Swamp Thing, the show, it's a thing on DC Universe.
Yes.
They did some casting. Do you want to hear the casting?
Yeah, so I guess for anybody that doesn't know, when we first talked about the Swamp Thing TV show, my reaction was kind of mundane because of I thought it was just a cartoon. It is, in fact, not a cartoon. It is going to be a dude running around in a rubber suit. It's going to be a live-action show.
Thank God.
And James Wan is one of the executive producers. I feel like I didn't know that either, so James Wan was like, I'm so excited about Aquaman. Yeah, I'm going to throw a bunch of money at this Swamp Thing TV show. They're like, can we get you to buy anything else? No, I'm okay. That's it.
He's going down with the ship.
Oh man, James Wan Aquaman jokes, great stuff. Okay, give me the casting. What do we got here?
All right, so we got ourselves an Alec Holland. It's Andy Bean.
Andy Bean.
Andy
Bean is known for his he's on the show Power, right?
Yep.
On Stars. He's going to be in It Chapter 2.
Yep.
Transformers last night, he played a lawyer. So if anybody really liked the lawyer in the new Transformers movie, that's your Swamp Thing. That's your Alec Holland. We do have a Swamp Thing too. Who's the Swamp Thing?
Swamp Thing is being voiced by Derek Mears. And Derek Mears is a guy who played Jason. The newest Friday the 13th, the masterpiece.
So he hid behind a mask and did not speak.
Now he's doing voiceover work.
Yeah, he's doing voiceover work. Good for him. Do we have an Abby Arcane? Do we have one of those yet?
We do. Will Patton. I recognize Will Patton because Will Patton. Oh no, that's not the guy.
Avery Sunderland. Oh, Abby Arcane. Yeah, okay, so how do you recognize Will Patton? He's one of the main guys, yeah.
Will Patton, I thought was somebody who he's not, so I don't recognize Will Patton.
Well, he was in the Punisher movie. Remember that Punisher movie with John Travolta?
Yes, I actually enjoy that Punisher movie more than most people do.
I really did. I watched it a lot of times. It was one of my favorite movies. Anyways, moving on. Abby Arcane.
Crystal Reed.
She's from Teen Wolf and Gotham. Oh, wow. Looks like, Warner Brothers real digging deep for these castings because I noticed that Swamp Thing, he was on Flash already. And
so yeah, Swamp Thing, like I think it's a cool idea for a show. I think it's cool to do kind of a old school horror man in a rubber suit running around kind of show. It shouldn't be like a superhero or super flashy show. Right. So I'm down to try it out. we'll talk a little bit more of it later, but we both were pleasantly surprised by Titans. So,
yeah,
I'm down to check it out.
Oh man, he's going to talk about Titans. Awesome. Yes. Okay. What else do you got on the list for me? That was pretty good news.
So
pretty satisfied.
We're going to do things a little out of order here. Uh-oh. Because I need to. We're going to talk about The Walking Dead's most recent episode first.
Okay.
So, Walking Dead, we left off last week with...
Hold on, I got this. I got it. Previously on The Walking Dead. Okay, go ahead.
There we go. So, yeah, so Rick got stabbed through the stomach with a rebar, and we thought that's how he's going to die. Well, we have his last episode. He gets himself out of the rebar, onto the horse, and starts traveling, and he's able to kind of get away from the hordes at certain points, and this is where he passes out and he has flashbacks. So he meets with previous characters that were in the show to give him like words of wisdom. Mm-hmm. And it was cool because it was major characters throughout the series.
Does Shane come back?
Shane comes back.
Wow, that's actually really cool, man.
Yeah, and it's really cool because they're sitting in the cop car where they were at the first episode of the show. Looking at the car that crashed over and kind of eating cheeseburgers and just chatting. And there's some cool moments where Rick's just like, I fucked up on how I handled everything. And they make jokes about, Rick's daughter and how like he has Shane's nose or she has Shane's nose and all this stuff. So there's some cool little moments there. It's really just a giant send off to Rick. It ends up that Rick gets the Horde to go to the bridge that they've been building for 5 episodes now, or whatever it's been, and blows it up. And they all start slowly pouring into the river. Now, when this happens, everyone sees Rick blow up with them. So Rick falls into the river too and travels off. Now, I'm terrible with names, so I apologize. Remember the woman that was in the junkyard?
Oh, yeah, the one with the helicopter?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we end the episode with her. She's about to meet up with the helicopter. She sees Rick. So she goes and saves Rick's life by grabbing him and putting him in the helicopter, and they fly away. So Rick is not dead, but he is no longer with the crew.
That is she's pulling him away to go to the big screen.
So, real quick after that, there's a few moments with different people in the camp. Maggie has a great moment with Negan. Maggie goes down to meet with Negan during the episode and is going to kill him and realizes that his imprisonment was actually way worse than death because he's begging her to kill her.
Yeah.
So that was a really great moment because she kind of realized like Rick was right all along, that we don't need to just kill each other, that we can do things different ways and punish people in more humane ways and more civilized ways. Mm-hmm. And then after the ending I talked about, there's a flash forward years in the future where Rick's daughter is growing up. And you see her kind of save a couple of strangers from a small group of zombies, get them away, and put on Rick's sheriff's hat. So hinting that we're going to have some sort of time jump from this episode to the next episode. Really great episode. I mean, it was a huge send-off. And to jump back into the news, it was announced right after the show that AMC is now producing a trilogy of Walking Dead movies starring Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes.
Oh, man, they're really just milking it, And that's not the only movie they announced this week. I don't know. Did you hear about the other one?
I did not.
They're doing a Breaking Bad movie.
I did hear about that one. That's right.
Where they follow Aaron's character, Jesse, after the end of the show. Which we had a Breaking Bad movie. We also had a Walking Dead movie. It was 24 movies for 8 seasons. I mean, a movie is just it's 2.5 episodes of the show. It's such a cash grab. So I don't know. I really hope that the making of these properties go they really put their heart into it. That it's not just a cash grab.
Yeah, the Breaking Bad one feels like cash grab, and Aaron Paul needs something to do because I'm sure the voiceover work he does for BoJack, although awesome, isn't really doing it for him. But as far as the Walking Dead one, it does feel like a cash grab at moments, but I like it because it allows the show to go in a different direction and not be quite as predictable. And at the same time, we don't lose Rick. Rick is going somewhere else, and who knows where he's going.
Yeah.
They said that he's not coming back to the show at any point. I mean, you can't predict the future, so maybe it'll happen someday, but I seriously doubt it. They also didn't really specify whether these movies are theatrical releases or, TV movies.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to find out that too. But production is supposed to start next year, so we'll see. It feels more to me that AMC wants to kind of go the path of HBO, where HBO has always had their series, and then they turn into movies when they're quote-unquote finished. And in this case, I think this is the ending they wanted for Rick, and they can also, kind of get some movies out of them too. I hope they're good, but I always felt like doing a Walking Dead movie kind of went against what The Walking Dead is.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's just me.
All right. Nice.
So, we do have some movie news.
Oh.
And to be super awesome for this episode, I'm going to keep vamping because I need to look it up. So, you know that movie Hellboy?
Yeah.
Yeah, some stuff happened with that.
The one without Ron Perlman playing Hellboy.
Yeah.
But with the makeup on, looks just like Ron Perlman. Can you imagine? But I remember he has a giant sword in this one, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they finally announced that they're going to have a Lobster Johnson, which I believe you wanted, 2 weeks ago?
I said that. So let me put this. I was in the comic shop with Chris about 2 weeks ago, and we had, I think the Hellboy movie poster just dropped. We talked about it on the show. But I did say to you in real life, and I said, the only way you're going to get my attention for a Hellboy movie is if you put Lobster Johnson in it. Well, guess what, kids?
So they have cast a Mr. Thomas Hayden Church. Does that name sound familiar to you at all?
No. Should it?
Well, if you remember the Marvel Cinematic Masterpiece, Spider-Man 3.
Oh.
One of the 20 villains in that movie was Sandman.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thomas Hayden Church played Sandman, so that's who's going to play him.
Good for him.
Which, to be fair, I am joking about Spider-Man 3 here. To be fair, he was the best part of Spider-Man 3. Like, Sandman was spot on in that movie, in my opinion. So
that was a good Sandman.
I'll give him credit there. It'll be interesting. I don't know much about Lobster Johnson, so they could do whatever. And
listen, all I know is it's not Sam Raimi's fault they forced him to make a third movie, okay? He just does what he's told.
Didn't he want to make a fourth movie? Wasn't that a thing?
I don't know.
Pretty sure he did.
This is coming from the guy who made a trilogy where the first two movies were like reboots of each other. I love Sam Raimi. Please believe me, everybody. Sam Raimi is one of my favorite directors, like top 3, I think. But can we just forget about Spider-Man 3? I mean, like, I understand. I enjoyed it when I watched it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say, and let it be done. Memes aside, no more memes, no more evil Spider-Man. I know what you're thinking of. Please don't talk about memes. It's over.
So, yeah, Sam Raimi, like, okay, Evil Dead, that's one of those horror movies I absolutely love. Evil Dead 2, even better. Yeah. And then Army of Darkness is like one of my favorite movies, even though it has no right being an Evil Dead movie because it's not a horror movie at all.
Right.
And then Sam Raimi decides later on, like, I'm going to remake Evil Dead again, except I'm not going to do it with somebody else. Never saw it. And now he wants to do it again. It's just, can we calm down, Raimi? Like,
yeah. I will. Ash vs. Evil Dead is one of my favorite TV shows, though. That was really good.
I do need to get into that, although it's...
Anyways, long story short, they cast Lobster Johnson, so I will be there opening night for that movie.
So.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was no Flash episode this week?
There was not, because we voted.
And we voted that we don't want to see any Flash. That's what we voted for, right?
No, it It was a whole thing with America, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I thought we were voting against Gorilla Grodd. Okay. Well, I did.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Hey, you write in whatever you want on the ballot, man. I don't judge.
I did get a chance to check out the first episode of Titans. So,
okay.
Mike's talked a little bit about that. I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
I agree with everything you said. I really liked it. My only negative to the show is my criticism of Starfire from the beginning, where I thought she was like Starfire is just different in my eyes. Like, I don't like her look, and maybe that'll change. I've heard stories of like her getting a different costume later on, so on and so forth.
Yeah, there's something behind the fact that she doesn't. I don't think like she's obviously taken over the body of someone who she has no idea who she is. Like, yeah, it's either that or it's like she doesn't know what happened before the event. I don't know. Something weird is like. I don't know. I don't think she realizes she's not from this planet yet. It's a mystery. We're gonna figure it out eventually, I think. But
yeah, something about it didn't rub me the right way. But that was one minor complaint, and it was also like 10 minutes of a 50-minute episode. All the stuff with Robin was fantastic. How Robin and Dick Grayson and Raven meet was really cool. Yep. And then, like you said, the ending with Beast Boy, turning into a tiger and stealing a bunch of stuff,
video fantastic.
Games, video games to be specific, Xbox video games too would be specific. Even though if you notice, he jumps in and he tears apart a PlayStation section, but then when he leaves, he has Xbox games. Yeah, so he has different powers.
I think Warner Brothers is taking sides there.
But yeah, I want to go in and watch more of it, and I do suggest that people check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Episode 4 and 5, I still have to watch, which is Doom Patrol, and then episode 5, they bring in Tim Drake. Like they're bringing everyone in for this season. It's like, oh my god, how is this gonna? Yeah, it's crazy. I love it,
and I love it. It's kind of a joke in DC, but I love how dark the show is.
Yeah.
Like, we already have kind of the light comic version of Teen Titans, and that was the original cartoon. Then we have a comedic version of Teen Titans, which is, the Teen Titans Go. And it's nice that the live action one is more of an adult and dark version.
You know what I think? I'm not sure. I don't think they've announced this is going to go multiple seasons. The way this story is and how they're coming together, I would prefer them just do like one season of Titans, and then they do one season of Swamp Thing, and then the next show is like one season of Animal Man. Like they every year they do a different season of just a show.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't be upset if they just went one or ended it. Yep, glad you liked it though.
So speaking of streaming services, the biggest news of them all, the hugest news of them all. Disney announced their streaming service officially this week.
Yes.
It is going to be called Disney Plus.
Yep.
Now, everybody, I'm taking control of the show this week, so we are everywhere. So strap in.
Uh-oh.
But, okay. So Disney Plus was announced. They announced a bunch of stuff to go with it. The ones that really affect us here is they kind of reiterated the fact that there's going to be these series of limited series with Loki and Scarlet Witch, and then Winter Soldier and Falcon. But the big new announcement for us was they're doing another live-action Star Wars show. There's going to be a prequel to Rogue One.
With the same characters?
With Cassian Andor. And he was the one that found Jyn Erso and had the sassy robot.
Yeah, he's Oh, so Alan Tudyk's going to be in it?
They didn't say whether
K2SO4?
They didn't say whether K2 was going to be in it or not. I really hope he is, and I would assume he is, because if it's a prequel of some sort, then you have to at least come to a point where you meet up with K2.
Dude, you know what's happening? Star Wars is turning into superhero shows. Like, pretty soon you're only going to be picking, like, I can only watch this one Star Wars show this week because there's 5 Star Wars shows out.
Yeah.
Well, oh man, you wanted it, you got it. It's like, no, please, no more. Stop.
To be fair, though, I asked for it. Everybody told me, like, oh, you're getting sick of Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm telling you all, I'm not going to get sick of Star Wars. I'm so excited.
Dude, it's like I kind of go in hibernation, and then when December rolls around, they're like, Star Wars is coming soon. And I'm like, yeah! You just get like, it like reignites the fire, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that was the big one. They talked a little bit more about Mandalorians, which we talked about before.
Everybody's favorite bounty hunter.
Yeah, and then, the other stuff that doesn't really... It's going to be big, but it doesn't really affect what we talk about. They're going to do a Monsters, Inc. TV show. They're going to bring back High School Musical. They're going to do Lady and the Tramp movie exclusive to the streaming service. A few other things. So they're calling in the big guns across multiple properties. So
good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
They could use the profit. I believe it. I've seen those numbers. Kind of weak sauce, if you ask me.
Yeah, I need another streaming service. I could piss away another $10.
Talking to my friends, I'm like, all these streaming services are going to add up. I might as well just pay for cable. Like, it's going to end up costing me more than cable would have ever cost me back in the day. Anyways,
so we have the awesome guest this week, David Whalen. We're going to take a quick break and go chat with him. See you on the other side.
Hey guys, Chris here, interrupting the show real quick. Remember, if you want to show your support for Force Comic News, head on down to patreon.com/Force Comic News, where just $1 a month gets you access to our Slack channel, where we can talk comics all day and all night, and exclusive Patreon podcast that we're uploading very soon. A series of games that we play with all the great guests we have here on Force Comic News. You're going to get one of those every month. And just $1 a month gets it for you. So remember, that's the best way to show your support there and to help a growing community and to be a part of it with us. So everybody, thanks for your support, and on with the show.
And welcome back, everybody. Today we got a special guest for you today, David Whalen, the writer, artist, pretty much everything for the book The Offspring, and head of Correct Handed Media, or production, sorry. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, a little technical difficulties, but we figured it out, huh? I think Chris and I are slowly becoming like IT guys, as well as, I mean, not your case, so we can't help for Apple products, but we've got pretty good troubleshooting. Like,
Apple does a lot of good things. Sometimes not so much, but they
don't like playing well with devices that they don't make. Is pretty much how it goes.
Definitely not.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, dude. So we usually like to start off with how you got into comics, why you wanted to draw a comic. You always liked comics, so a little bit of your origin story, if you don't mind.
Yeah, like many comic book lovers, I loved comic books at an early age. Any superheroes I would snatch up and read as much as I possibly could. As I got a little older, realized I was pretty good at drawing.
Yeah,
and realized as I wanted to start drawing comic books, that if I really wanted to get better at it, I probably should start writing also. So it's probably halfway through college, I realized that if I want to write my kind of stories, or draw my kind of stories, I should probably start writing also my kind of stories.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, and it was really nice too, because it cut out a middleman that I didn't have to compromise my stories or my vision or whatever it was. But it also gave, there was a huge learning curve to be able to know that I was not just saying, okay, I want this character to look this way or this scene to look this way. I actually had to write a narrative around it. So it was difficult, but fun, challenging, but very rewarding in the fact that I see a lot of artists constantly looking for writers and writers constantly looking for artists. And that's not really something that I have to do. If I find an artist or another writer that I want to work with, it works out great. But it's not something I have to do to be able to produce books, which is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think Chris knows a little bit about looking for artists and how difficult that can be, right, Chris?
It can be difficult, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun process.
No, man. Yeah. As an artist myself, I constantly see writers looking for artists, and it's hard to find somebody to be 100% in on your concept when it's not their concept. Also, you hope that people love it as much as you do, but if it's an artist taking hours and hours and hours of their time, they especially as an indie creator, they've got to love it, or it's going to go slow.
For sure. Yeah. So, for you, are you drawing like storyboards first, or do you write a little bit first, or what usually comes first?
A little bit of both. Of both. I've had the Offspring, the main story, since I was 16 years old.
Oh wow!
And now I'm not 16 years old. So
you fooled us.
But I've had the main story. Obviously, it's gone through changes and growth over the last years. But I've had that story for the most part, in the beginning and then the end. And what I've done over the last few years is really start to flesh out the characters, flesh out why it is they're doing what they're doing, and how I get to the end of the story, which I will eventually get to. But what I do, I usually start with a storyboard, like a thumbnail of what I want the pages to look like. I might have a scene, or I might have just a picture of something that I want to show, one visual, and I try to wrap either a story around that, or I'll have a place where I want a character to go, or the story to go, or certain plot points that I know I want to hit in individual issues. It really depends on what I'm trying to get done in that issue. Sometimes it's just characterization, trying to get a character to be a little bit more fleshed out, so people understand why they're doing the things that they're doing. It's because sometimes I've had artists and writers have a character do something, and I would ask as the artist, say, why is this character doing that? And they say, because the story needs them to do it.
Yeah.
And that was something that I wanted to make sure that I didn't do. I wanted to make sure that I knew if a character was doing something that was pushing a story forward, why did they make that decision? And why did they do the dumb thing that they did, or the smart thing that they did, to be able to continue and push that story forward?
It probably comes into play too if you're working with another artist. It's like, if it's something difficult to draw, you're like, do you really need 35 helicopters in this scene? Like, I don't know. It really doesn't work.
I've done that to myself. I'm like, this is going to look awesome. And then I get there, I'm like, oh wait, maybe I need 5 helicopters.
Yeah. You're the one that's, you're arguing with yourself. Okay, maybe I can dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about the Offspring then. It's an idea you had for a while. You could probably just give us the quick plot overview, the short Cliff Notes version. Yeah,
it is, to start off with, 3 main characters who grew up in an alternative school, essentially an orphanage. Yep. And they came to the orphanage because they had some kind of trauma or some kind of dramatic thing happen in their lives. And as they grow, they realize that trauma was the starting point of them developing superhuman abilities. Cool. And as they grow, their superhuman abilities grow, and the trauma that they got those superhuman abilities from just keeps getting worse and worse and worse for them. So as they get into, we meet them in their early 20s, 21 years old, a couple of characters.
Yep.
They start to realize that it's not only their abilities growing, but their connection between each other is growing also. As their connection grows, they start to realize that there is an all-powerful force group of gods that they don't know this yet, but are pushing them forward. We as the reader know it. But these all-powerful forces are pushing them forward for an ultimate goal that we do not know yet.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty interesting, and it's the really dark villain, right? That's kind of sacrificing people for immortality and like stealing children. It's really dark, but it also has the superhero twist on it as well.
Yeah. A major theme through a lot of my work is children and family.
Yeah,
and I do use the children in the orphanage that they grew up in, that they end up working in later on in their 20s, quite a lot, to help push the narrative forward of children and family, and how children's lives can be traumatized or helped through whatever experiences they have when they're really young.
Awesome. That's so cool.
For the villain, and you can choose not to answer this if you don't want to, but for the villain, was there a purposeful reason for like kind of pseudo-Nazi imagery in there? Because I noticed he had an armband with the red and the white circle, and then the flag was similar, just didn't have the swastika on it. Was that purposeful?
I definitely wanted undertones of arguably the most evil group in the history of groups in the world, right? But I later on in the story, that circle, that white circle, gets filled in at the climactic end of the first story arc in the fourth issue. That white circle gets filled in with a, I don't want to give much away, but with a symbol that'll push forward into the craziness of the fourth issue of that story arc.
Awesome. Yeah, Chris gets excited when if there's like Nazis getting punched in the face, that's instantly his favorite book that week. So
anytime you can show Nazis getting punched in the face, I think it's good, right?
Yeah,
I would hope.
Yeah,
I mean, I grew up on Captain America stuff, so that image is pretty well.
That's funny. I was just at Syracuse Comic-Con and I was looking for the Captain America No More storyline, and I found 2 issues of the 5-issue story arc. So I'm still on the hunt. Captain America is one of my favorites growing up. Also,
that's always great when you go to a con. Like you're not really looking for an expensive book, just like something obscure that you don't see all the time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you're like, oh man, I found this issue of like, the Zoo Crew. Oh my god. And it's only 25 cents.
I had the whole. It was one of those storylines for me that I would take onto road trips. All 5 issues, and I just destroyed them. So I don't know what. I'm sure my parents threw them away when they saw them in my room. When I was 12 or 13, and don't know what happened to them. But yeah, to get that storyline back, it's one of those ones that really connected with me as a kid.
Yeah,
and made a love of Captain America.
That's for me. Like whenever I go to a con or a shop and I see an issue with Captain Nazi on it, I immediately get it because I'm just like, nobody cares about this character except for me, and I'm pretty sure I have like every copy in existence at this point.
Oh yeah.
So you're still collecting? Do you have a collection?
I don't collect as much as I used to. One of the reasons I live up in upstate New York, and there aren't any comic book shops around here. I think the closest comic book shop is about an hour away. So I get a lot of comics online, mainstream and indie comics. But for the most part, what I try to do is if I know I'm in a place where a comic book store is, I'll go and I'll buy 2 or 3 trades. I don't know if I bought an individual issue of a book in 6 or 7 years, but I'll buy trades to be able to keep up with the storylines and stuff like that, which becomes very, very much difficult when you're raising 2 children and have a day job and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a little, free time. Not really, but Chris and I always talk about like reading trades as opposed to single issues, just because I know I used to hang out with him like once a week in the comic shop and we'd talk about the issue every week. And now it's like, okay, we still get together once a week, but I'm not sitting there like flipping through the book with everyone. It's easier for me to read trades to keep up with stories. So, you decided to go digital with your book too, though, right? You have digital and print?
Yes. Yeah. It was just for me. I was, like I said, I bought books digitally, and it just makes sense to do both.
Yeah.
I think that giving people the option, if they want to do it digitally or print, is just a better way to go, especially as an indie creator who isn't hitting a billion people every time I put a book out. I'm hitting hundreds, hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, hundreds as I'm doing it. So giving them more options, giving the people more options is always better than less.
Awesome. So how many issues do you have planned out total?
Right now, I'm on issue 7. Issue 8 is being colored right now as we speak. I was running a little bit behind, so I asked a colorist friend of mine to color it for me, which is weird for me. I usually handle everything myself at this point. But she was kind enough to be able to help me out. But issue 8 comes out hopefully next month. My plan is I've got like the next 4 years planned.
Oh, wow.
If it's 12 books, books a year, if that happens. So I've got the next 4 years planned out. There's definitely an end to the story, and it's just a matter of how I get there. If I can consolidate some of the story a little bit to be able to maybe get there a little bit faster, because I am an indie creator. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep that kind of stuff up.
But
I'm going to try my hardest to make sure I tell the story, not just quickly, but right.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, so where can everybody pick these up?
So Amazon.com.
Nice.
Print and digital. You can pick it up on Comixology, also the first 4 issues on Comixology, along with the trade on Amazon and Comixology, and also Comic Central. All 8 issues of Comic Central also. So I've got the trade cover, that bad boy right there.
Nice.
And the scary hand, monster hands.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's the cover of the trade. And then each individual issue, if you're more of a collecting completist and you want individual issues, they're up there also.
Awesome.
You like them floppies.
Yeah. Gotta have both, you know.
And
sometimes you just have to collect them all.
And where's best for everyone to find you on the internet?
Facebook is where I do my. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram. Facebook is where I do most of my posting at Correct Handed Productions. But you can find me on Twitter at Handed Correct. Had to flip it there for Twitter. There, Handed Correct, and then also an individual for The Offspring is at The Offspring 00 for Twitter.
Okay, awesome.
Can I plug one more thing, guys? I have a 4-issue miniseries called Evolution Utero.
Oh man, I didn't even know. This is a surprise. All right, let's talk about this.
4-issue miniseries. It's the 4 issues are done. They're completed. They're in trade form right now. All 4 issues, and the first 3 issues are up on Amazon and Comics Central, and the 4th one is coming out right before Christmas.
So let's talk about that.
The great thing about this one right here, the 4 individual issues, is that all 4 issues create one big picture, one giant poster.
Yeah.
So I was trying something a little bit different from my take as an indie creator. So the 4 individual issues make one giant poster of Evolution Utero. And this has the same themes of children and how parenting and having children changes you, but it done in a really superhero, exciting way.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh,
that's news to me. We got more stuff to talk about. This is great.
Yeah, we can talk. I've got all day. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Are there any other projects you see yourself working on, or is this going to occupy most of your time, you think?
I do have. I'm actually 80 pages into a 100-page trade for another company called The Loved Ones.
Oh, wow.
And it is hopefully coming out the beginning of next year, January.
Very cool.
I've been nice. That's been a labor of love. It's been like a year working on it, and it's gonna be a good one. It's monsters, so like classic monsters, but with a twist.
Oh, okay. So like old school monster movie style.
Yeah. I go on with that.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I guess you are keeping busy then, huh?
And I also have, not to plug too much. Sorry, guys.
No, do it. Plug as much as you want.
Plug away. I have a novel.
Use all the time. It's great. Because
I wrote a novel, The Last Ride to Tyburn.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
It's a pretty quick. It's a pretty quick read. It's a good read, but it's about 200 pages, and it is a traditional Western with a modern twist.
Okay.
So, The Last Ride to Tyburn, you can find all of it on Amazon under keywords "my name Whalen," awesome. And probably Correct Handed under Whalen also.
Cool. Yeah. Wow, that was like. Buy one, get 5 free. That was I'm so excited that we got to. So really quick though, like writing a novel for you is that a little more of a relief because you're like, oh man, I don't have to draw any of this. I could
on some level, yeah. The amount of stress that is relieved from not having to draw it gets magnified from actually having to hold a story together for 200, 250, 300 pages.
Yeah.
But no, that was a fun. It was my first attempt. I think successfully. Attempt at doing a Western that kind of had it all, action and humor and drama, a good solid twist at the end, I think. So it was something that took me, again, about a year and a half to be able to complete on top of drawing and writing other comic books.
Yeah,
so it's one of those things that I really wanted to do, and I'm glad I did it. I'm actually halfway through my next novel, which is a ghost story.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
I love ghost stories.
So that one might come out in the next 20 years. We'll see what happens.
All right,
we'll see how much I can sit at a computer.
I got to hang out there just a little longer, and maybe it'll see it come out. Awesome, David. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on. You get some more issues out, and you got a huge growing fan base. We'll talk about the rest of those issues.
That sounds great.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you guys very much.
We're back.
Wow. What a great guy. Good stuff. Great interview. Hopefully get him back on here. He's doing a lot of stuff. We kind of wrapped it up at the end really quick there. But yeah, he's doing a lot of great stuff. So check him out. Amazon, Comixology. It's all up there.
Those New Yorkers were making some comics.
Yeah. Go New York. Actually, not city. It's upstate, better than the city. Nyack. Hey, quick, before we talk about comics, I just want to talk about something I discovered this week. Apparently, I've been living under a rock, but I saw a trailer for the movie that came out Friday, Overlord.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer for this movie, dude?
Yeah, I want to see it. I almost went to see it Friday.
It looks like, if anyone hasn't seen the trailer for Overlord, like, just open up YouTube right now, type in Overlord. It is like Wolfenstein the game as a movie. I don't know, it's like World War II, Nazis are testing people, and it's like they're mutant monster zombie people, and it's like, it's got Nazis, it's got zombies, I don't know, and then it's like, Chris, how have you not seen this movie yet?
I was supposed to go Friday. Things came up. I was not able to. I plan on seeing it this week. Yeah, this is
I gotta see it.
I think J.J. Abrams is like an executive producer to this as well.
But it's not a Bad Robot, his production company.
Yeah, and I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's good or bad, but assuming it's good, it's kind of unfortunate it's going up against The Grinch, which means it's not going to do so hot.
I don't know. It had a lot of hype behind it, I think, this week.
Well, yeah, I hope I'm wrong. But yeah. So,
anyways, comics.
We only had one bit of comic news. So we all remember the Old Man Logan universe. We've had Old Man Logan, and we've had Old Man Hawkeye. Well, now we're getting Old Man Quill. That's right. We're getting an old ass Starman or Star-Lord.
Old Starman.
Yeah. So. Old Man Quill, or Old Man Star-Lord, whatever you want to call it, is being brought to you by Ethan Sachs with art by Robert Gill. Ethan Sachs is doing the Old Man Hawkeye book right now. You have any thoughts on this?
I'm just trying to. I'm going through my mind of like the whole fun thing about Quill is he's just young and adventurous and not a gritty. Not like he's not. I don't know. Like. I feel like everything you're going to get out of an old man Peter Quill is what you're going to get out of like an old man Logan, right? He's just even more. He's old and he's like, Clint Eastwood, old, just on a porch, on a space porch somewhere.
So
I don't know. How do you feel about it? I'm kind of indifferent. Like, come up with a new idea.
I'm kind of a little bit indifferent too. I mean, Old Man Hawkeye seemed like a cool idea, and I want to read it when it's all finished because. It is a prequel to Old Man Logan, and I guess basically before he goes blind, he wants to kill the people that kind of, ruin the world for everybody, and it ends up being that those people are the Thunderbolts. So you got me in at Thunderbolts.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, so I'm down with that, and Ethan Sachs wrote that book. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if Peter Quill somehow connects into it. Assuming he does, and there's a plan here, I'm for it. I don't know if it really pulls me in, but, write the story you want to write. It does feel to me like we're at a point where, if they announce Old Man Rogers or Old Man, Stark or something like that afterwards, it's like, okay, wait, you had a good thing. Let it rest.
Old Granny Widow or something? I don't know.
Yeah, which, neither company's that great, but Marvel especially, when they have a good idea, they don't really know how to just kind of let it go.
All right, move on to something else.
Yeah, so, that was all the comic news. So, Mike, let's start with what you've been reading this week.
I did check out a book that you told me to read, the Image comic. Do you have it with you? I
do.
Outer Limits? Was that it?
Outer Darkness.
Outer Darkness. Yeah, it was recommended to me by Chris last week. Image book. It was good. I liked it, but it wasn't what I expected. I was picturing like sci-fi horror, and we talked about last episode. Oh no, it wasn't on the episode. I think you told me off the record about the book.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool. I get like Han Solo. It's basically like Han Solo vibes. He's like a delinquent space captain that he has to go to the outer darkness, which is a part of space where there's demons and stuff, and like nobody goes there. But the whole purpose of, you find out at the end of the book, is like his wife or girlfriend is dead, and he's going back there to try to get her back, like resurrect her, do some crazy dark magic.
Yeah. So this book was, when I got the Solicit email, Solicit is kind of a horror book where like hauntings and possessions and demons were a real thing. And those all being true, I pictured something different when I was, so that's why I was suggested to you.
Yeah, I get it.
I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I checked it out because I like John Layman, and he's the one that wrote it. I thought the art was really cool, and I like some of the concepts going on here. Like, you know, they went into the one space where there was kind of these spirits that were taking over people and possessing them, and there was like some exorcist vibes going on. The engine they use was like a god. They call it a god engine, and there's actually a god inside of it that they had to sacrifice people to. Yeah,
they like throw people in as fuel. That was awesome.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to keep reading it too. I did not expect to read it or like it as much as I did.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Batman. Oh, geez, I forget the number. It's one of the. It's 50 something, 52, I believe. Basically, the Penguin goes to great lengths to try to assassinate Alfred, and by the end of the book, Batman goes to Penguin, and Penguin's like, "Hold on a second," and they're like, and he's on the phone with the guys about to kill Alfred, and he tells them to kill themselves and not kill Alfred, and then he has like a proposition for Batman, and I don't know if that's because like Penguin is gonna, like, basically Bane called him and said you gotta do something. I don't know if this is because Penguin wants to kill Bane. He's like tired of like being under his thumb, or if he is trying to put some plan in action to try to, I don't know, to try to overthrow Bane, or if like, I don't know. We'll see. But it was a good episode. It was a good issue. It shows how cool Penguin is. We don't get enough Penguin, I think. Enough serious Penguin to where it's like, okay, he's a Penguin. He's kind of a joke. But he's actually pretty terrifying in this issue, which was cool to see. Justice League number 11, another part of Drowned Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Kind of focuses on Mara and how she thinks she made a big mistake, and now she's got to own up to it. So they go to find the weapon, the great evil water. Oh, it's already been taken from the vault. So you have that, and so you know, I realized in the book they go to the desert, right, to find this weapon, kind of like they do in the trailer for Aquaman.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're just trying to like get all the fans on board with like, see, there can be land. Like, it would make sense to hide it in the desert. Like, they're trying to really drive that idea home, I think. And which, I mean, very similar to the Aquaman. I don't know if it's going to be similar to the plot where they have to stop an evil force, and where is it locked away? It's locked away in the desert, you know? Yeah, so that was cool. And then the other half of the issue, you have Aquaman and Wonder Woman. Aquaman is about to throw the ring in Mordor, and he's about to get thrown into this like interdimensional pool at like the bottom of the ocean that it just goes beyond all space and time, and Wonder Woman kind of saves him on her like flying golden sailboat that we never really hear where she gets it from.
Along with her two-headed bird that we never...
Yeah, two-headed, like, bird god thing, whatever. Hey, cool. I mean, she's Amazonian. You don't want to ask questions about that. But, yeah, and so they find Poseidon, and Poseidon's all old and crippled, like, locked away in a vault. And he And Aquaman's like, hey, we need your help. And he's like, if you think I'm going to help you, you're dumb. And then he stabs him in the chest. Like 2-page spread stabs him in the chest. It's a big old stab. It's like an Invincible panel. I would call that one. If anybody ever read Invincible by Kirkman, that's an Invincible panel.
Yeah. And Aquaman's obviously dead because there's not another series coming soon from a different writer.
Yeah, he's definitely dead. I mean, he's no coming back. He just killed one of the big five. Yeah, and then at the end, Batman's trying to get away in his floating wheelchair with Jarro, the mini Starro that he keeps in a jar. Because he's still trapped in the Hall of Justice, and it's flooding, and he's trying to keep the totality. He's like, the totality's safe, but the hall is doomed. And then little do we know is double entendre, because he's doomed as well as the Legion of Doom kicks down the door. And they like kick him out of his like floating wheelchair. And it's like, I'm excited though, because you know how well Scott Snyder writes Batman. And next week's issue is Batman versus the Legion of Doom. So I'm really curious to see how crippled Batman gets himself out of the situation.
So I enjoyed this issue.
Yeah.
But altogether, the highs and lows of this event have been kind of ridiculous. It started off really good and had a really great tie-in book. And I'm slowly losing interest in it. I want to finish it because it's Aquaman related.
Yeah.
But I really think they went off the rails here on this. And I agree with you. I am down for next week's issue because Batman's the center point of it. But we've only got this, the next issue, a tie-in issue, and then a prelude. To finish the story. So it's upsetting. This story had so much potential, and maybe it lives up to it in the next couple issues, but it seems like it's kind of falling in my eyes. But
well, I'll save Green Lantern for last. Death of Inhumans #5. That was a great final issue. It kind of sped up at the end, though. It was like 4 issues of like, at least it seemed kind of rushed to me, but it was like 4 issues of kind of like building this villain, and then the 5th issue, they're just like, all right, we resolved it. Probably my least favorite. I mean, up those first 4 issues were great, and then this last issue is kind of like my least favorite Donny Cates issue, I think. I don't know. What do you think?
Did not get a chance to read it because I forgot it came out.
So it wraps everything up. Basically, everybody's still alive. Everybody lives happily ever after, kind of. I mean, you can't kill off Lockjaw. It's just, and he resolves everything with one final scream. So,
as one does.
They really don't explain like how he just kind of goes in the room, screams, and everybody's back. I don't know. There's a lot of comic book science going on in that issue. The best part of the issue for me though is Black Bolt's talking sign language to everyone, like a really heartfelt moment, and then Beta Ray Bill is like, what did he say? I don't understand sign language. It was pretty awesome. And then I just have Green Lantern to talk about. So
I'll jump through a few of mine, then we'll get to Green Lantern. Speaking of Donny Cates, we've got Marvel Knights #1. This is the 6-issue miniseries he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so my Marvel Knights knowledge is not the best, although I do have a connection to Marvel Knights because it's some of the first comics I read. I don't know the complete history of it, so someone out there screaming at their iPod or phone right now. But basically, we're at the point where all the heroes don't really know who they are. And we find Daredevil at the grave of Karen Page. He has no clue who he is. He has no clue who Karen Page is. And is trying to figure out what's going on when all of a sudden Punisher shows up. And Punisher doesn't know who he is, but he knows he has to find Daredevil. And he finds Daredevil. They kind of fight it out. And there's a few scuffles in here. We get to meet kind of the cast of characters. So it's him, Punisher, Bruce Banner's in the car with Punisher. They got their orders from Kingpin. Kingpin doesn't know who he is. We end up finding out that this is all being helmed by Doctor Doom in the end. So it was a disappointing issue because it was just a lot of questions, but that might not be a bad thing in the long run. But in the short run, it was kind of like, I want the next issue so I know what the hell's going on. But we'll find out. So we'll see. That might be one that people want to wait for trade on.
Sounds like you got a doomsday clock on your hand.
Possibly, yeah. But this one might come out on time.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, 6 different artists, each artist doing their own issue, and none of them are Gary Frank, so they might come out on time.
Oh man,
Gary Frank, I love your art, but you're slow as hell.
Yeah.
Then I got Walking Dead 185. So a couple things we learned in this issue. One, Carl fucks a lot in this issue, and 2,
really?
Oh yeah, like there's a whole conversation between him and I forget her name, but about how Carl's just getting tons of pussy, just all of it. Yeah, and she's going on about like trying to figure out who she can fuck in the camp.
What?
Yeah.
Is this Kevin Smith's Walking Dead?
I feel like it is. The thing is nobody knows. If you listen to Smodcast, Kirkman did go on Smodcast with Kevin Smith. I want to know if this book was written before or after.
He's like, I got an idea for an issue, Kirkman. Like, this is so out of the element.
Just talk about Carl and how much he fucks.
Yeah, like, what?
And then we get kind of a moment back in the settlement where Rick and Michonne are out to dinner and they're talking like how things feel so normal. And Rick is kind of moved to tears because they're at this diner and they're being served food, and it's kind of like he's going back to before the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Fast forward, there's rumors that because Dwight wants to kind of start a revolution and take over the town, Rick's against it, and Dwight gets arrested trying to basically rile up a bunch of people. Rick goes in to talk to him, and when he's done, he's just like, "We can't do this. You know, we've got to let these people be." And the head guard that we found 5-6 issues ago, he walks up to Rick and goes, "No, Rick Grimes is the leader this colony needs." So, yeah, something's going to happen there.
Yep. I don't know. That does. I'm sorry, but that issue of how much Carl's getting laid will not get me to come back to The Walking Dead. Things I didn't need to know, you know. Like, man, I wish I stayed on for 10 more issues to find that out.
Yeah, you needed it, man. You needed it in your life.
God. Anyways.
Infinity Wars number 5. The basics of this is Loki gets all the Infinity Stones. And we get kind of a history of where the Infinity Stones came from and why they exist. And surprise, Loki turns his back on everybody when he's trying to save.
The trickster god tricks everyone again.
Yeah, you think people would learn, right?
Yep.
James Bond 007 number 1. This is Greg Pak's ongoing series he's doing. Really good, lots of action. And it's Bond in Korea.
Nice.
That's really all there is to it. He gets into a fight with another agent from somewhere else. We don't know who it is, except we know exactly who it is. It's Odd Job. Everybody.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it Odd Job?
It's Odd Job.
He's in Korea, right? It makes sense.
And my last floppy is Star Wars Han Solo Imperial Cadet. My advice is skip this issue and just buy issue 2. Because literally all we did was
go through the movie,
entire first half of the Solo movie.
Oh no!
The only thing we found out was near the end we get kind of Han in training camp, and he decides that he doesn't need to go through training camp. He's already the best pilot in the galaxy, so he steals a TIE fighter and runs away with it. And a bunch of other TIE fighters shoot him down. And he ends the issue being surrounded by stormtroopers with guns drawn on him. And he's kind of like, "Sorry, guys."
Nice.
Yeah, so kind of a disappointing issue, and then I got a couple trades. This week I finally got around to reading Earth 1 Green Lantern, and I really liked it. I hope they do more of it. It definitely ended in a way that begs for more. And
yeah,
it was a kind of a different way to do Green Lantern. And then I forgot to talk about this last week. but I read Batman: The Justice League Volume 1. This was the manga done by Shiori Teshiaga.
Oh yeah, the Justice League manga. Yeah, how's that?
Yeah. So if you like manga, it's good. It's not going to bring anyone that's not a manga fan into manga. Mm-hmm. Anyone doesn't know, I do enjoy the occasional manga. I do have some that I like. But it has a very Japanese feel. What was cool about it is it was all those heroes we know and love, and they're done a Japanese way, and so it's kind of a little different. Mm-hmm. It does do kind of the cardinal sin of manga, which is let's take this story and just throw a Japanese character in it. And your kind of lead character, the person who's bringing you through Gotham, is a Japanese boy who's coming from Japan to America.
Yeah.
But they kind of slowly push that to the side, and it ends in a way that, leads into a second volume. But it leads into a second volume where Ocean Master is the villain. So,
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you like manga and you like superheroes, it's a good fit. So let's talk about Green Lantern.
Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp's Green Lantern. Beware my power.
The intergalactic lawman.
This issue, man. Let's just from the art. Number one, I think we talked about if Grant Morrison is doing Green Lantern, I want as many aliens as you can fit. And I think we got, for a $5 issue, I haven't counted them, but there's at least 50 to 60 aliens in this book. Alien races.
Yeah.
The issue starts off with a fight between a Green Lantern and some villains, and the art is it's so classic, but it's not. It's I don't know how to describe it. Do you know what I'm saying?
It has a very 80s, 70s feel to it, especially in some of the lettering.
Yeah.
It makes it feel right at home with Alan Moore's Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, Alan Moore. That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
And it makes me wish that this was a Green Lantern Corps movie, series. Although I do really enjoy where the story leads off. I'll let you continue.
Yeah, it's just really cool. We find out, Hal Jordan has been kicked out of the Corps, but the Corps, and we know that, there suddenly is a reason for him to come back, and you could tell. By the way Morrison writes his character, he's a seasoned veteran of. He knows alien races by heart. He knows their weaknesses. He knows the capabilities of his ring, what he can do. And then, he kind of has a conversation with the Guardians about this, someone who's is gonna come take over them or just lead to their destruction, right? And they think it's him.
Yeah.
And what they don't know is, at the very end of the issue, we actually get a look at the Dark Stars, right? Or the
Black Stars.
Black Stars, sorry. Yeah, the Black Stars, who are rebuilding the Weaponeer, which, if anybody remembers, it's Grant Morrison's run of Justice League, Rock of Ages, I believe. I don't know if it's in the Rock of Ages portion, but it's in Grant Morrison's Justice League somewhere. He used the Weaponeer. But yeah, so they're rebuilding the evil Hal Jordan. It's awesome. It was a great first issue. I have no complaints at all.
I hope that they stay in space. That's my only
stay in space, please.
Is Liam Sharp's art was fantastic in the first and second half and second portion of the book, because the space stuff fits his style so well. When they were on Earth, it felt weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it just didn't work with his style. But it does seem like that's the plan. There's also a 2-page spread at the end of the book that just says "coming soon."
Yeah,
and they show different images, and I mean, I'm not a huge DC nerd, so I don't know a ton, but we see a Broken Lantern. We see a bunch of known faces, including what looks like Batman and Robin with Green Lantern symbols. And then my favorite is that they tease that Green Lantern and Green Arrow are going to team up at some point.
Yeah.
So,
and I think those are the Furies too from Apocalypse.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I don't know what it's like. How do all these connect? I have no idea, but I'm sure Grant Morrison is like the Furies, a Green Arrow, Green Lantern team up, and a universe that has all Green Lantern versions of DC heroes.
And it's worth pointing out that this is one issue, but it didn't get too Grant Morrison-y.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is there's Grant Morrison when he gets really weird and out there, and that can be good. But there's also Grant Morrison when he's just writing a really great story and doesn't try to go too far off the rails. And after one issue, it feels like that's where he's going with this. So I definitely recommend checking it out, even if you're not a huge Grant Morrison fan. If for nothing else, the Liam Sharp art is worth it.
Yeah, man, to own a page from that issue.
Yeah. I'm serious. Like, there's a run. I have a collection, and it's stories from the DC universe of Alan Moore. And I recommend that anybody who loves comics buy this, because first of all, it's got Killing Joke and his Superman one-shot he did. That
was a good one-shot.
That sell in their own on trades for like $15-$20. This whole book's like $20. And it includes all of his stories from Green Lantern Corps book, which was literally just pick a Green Lantern Corps member and tell a one-shot story with them.
Oh, I never read those.
Those are some of my favorite Alan Moore stuff. Nobody talks about it, but they're so good. He just picks one character, tells a quick story, and it's just a ton of fun. I really hope at some point, even if it's just like a mini series or something, Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp jump on that idea and do it again. Because that first half where they were just exploring alien races was so awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was. So satisfied with that book. Can't wait to get more and more issues.
So, Mike, speaking of being satisfied, if everybody wants to be satisfied on the internet, where's the best place to find you?
Oh, man, we're towing the line, but Fortress Ricker at Twitter. Where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me at Fortress Chris, or you can find the show at FCN_official, and of course, FortressComicNews.com, where everything we do is posted. Everything. So remember, everybody, if you are watching us on YouTube, to please give me a thumbs up down below and to comment down below, as well as share with your friends, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And if you are listening to our beautiful voices, you might be listening to us on Spotify, because we're finally on Spotify.
We're on the Spotify, and I have listened to an episode on there. It works. It works,
everybody. And you're probably enjoying the new album art that I worked so hard on. By that, I mean, put 2 images together and posted it. But
good stuff.
It was good stuff. And if you're listening to us, remember, reviews, especially on iTunes, 5-star reviews, helps us a ton, helps reach more people. And it's a great way to show your support for the show. So I want to thank you all for listening, and hope you all have a good week.
See you.